What's up, people? I'm Shaggy, the Opinionated Hippie. This is part 13 of my reviewing and ranking Phish's live series, or the live Phish series. I'm doing them in order. This is volume 13. I'll discuss volume 13, and then I will show you where I think it ranks among the other 12 I've previously discussed on this channel. How did we get to Phish from Zappa? Phish covers Peaches, for one. Might be other connections. I'm sure there are, but that's the most direct. Anyways, Volume 13 is 10/31/94, the first of the Phish musical costumes. This is from Glen Falls, New York, and for their very first ever musical costume, which is essentially at these shows, and well, for this one, and I know for the next couple, it was a first set, a complete cover of an album by an artist, and then a second set. In this one, for their first one ever, they decided to cover the Beatles' White Album, or the Beatles. And so that's what you get on this disc. I think it is a 4-disc set. You get set 1, you get the set 2, which contains the entirety of the White Album. You get set 3 in an encore. And if you've watched me here on this channel, you know I don't generally like cover albums. My least favorite concerts to see are like, we're doing this album in its entirety, robbing you of all surprises. You know what's going to come next at every point in time. I am not a fan of those kind of shows. Just not. I like surprises in my set lists. And so the musical costume idea is something that I don't think ever really truly excited me, especially when like this time they did the White Album. The following year they would do Quadrophenia, which I think is another poor choice. I thought the choices became more interesting the following year because they did Remain in Light. The only one I ever saw in person was the one in '98 when they did Velvet Underground's Loaded, which I thought worked better. I thought it felt more Phish-like, and they weren't just like memorizing other people's songs to do cover versions of them, but they were actually just performing these songs that they might have otherwise have performed. And I think that played out in the years to follow. But anyways, this, not ever really that excited about it. And then upon listening to it, I would say that my hesitation in it kind of played out, especially with something like the White Album, which is already a long album, and you can't really drop a 10, 15-minute jam in the middle of an already long album, or it's going to be a ridiculously long album. So yeah. But anyways, here's what we get. First set, it's all of the first disc, spills into the second disc, opens up with Frankenstein, which is, it's Halloween. It's a cover song. Great choice all around, right? Obviously, Frankenstein. Never one of my favorite songs, ever. As a kid, I did not like Frankenstein. I don't know why. The song always bothered me. I do not like that breakdown in the middle with the that part, and then they build it back up, and then the wah. It never impressed me as a kid. I don't know why. Always rubbed me the wrong way. So I don't need to see Phish doing Frankenstein. I like it as an opener way much more than I like it as like an encore or a closer. So I'm okay with it here on Halloween, but still, it's Frankenstein. I know people love it though, and they do a good job on it. Sparkle, never been a fan of Sparkle. Then we get a really good simple, just one of those like standalone simples, really nice jam that's kind of a tray led, just kind of a chill, very not spooky or Halloweeny. It almost feels like a Grateful Dead Afternoon Sunday show type simple ending. So maybe it's a walking off into the dark distance, trick-or-treating, and everything seems peaceful, but it's going to get weird because it's Halloween type ending. But it's a really nice ending, and it's really kind of patient and takes its time, and it's pretty much just this really kind of chill, kind of laid back, tray-led ending jam that kind of works really well. That kind of like dies out completely. Oh, yeah. This is what it reminds me of. It reminds me very much of like riding peacefully off into the sunset, right? That's the way the end of the simple jam feels. It's just like, yeah, just kind of going on and on and on. Not really going anywhere, but we're going off. We're going to somewhere, but it's not like a crazy journey. Because what follows next is Divided Sky. It's the sunset right there. It's divided between the sun and the earth. That's the divided sky they're driving into. And it's glorious. It's beautiful. It's a magnificent divided sky. maybe one of the highlights of the first set. I have a highlight further on, favorite, a jam later on in the set that I like more, but it's a really good, solid Divided Sky. We then get kind of a special treat for a first set. We get a first set Harpua. We get a War Pigs reference. We get some self-referential stuff going on there about the night. We don't get the note. We get something of darkness that they played when they do that. They go into some like the note of ultimate darkness or something like that. They play in Harpua. Why is it escaping me what it is? But yeah, it's Harpua. Love like the first third of Harpua. Love the actual me and Harpua. Love that part. The rest of it, I'm hit and miss with, but I think it's a good first song choice. A Julius, it's pretty high rockin'. A Horse Silent in the Morning. Then we get what I think is the highlight of the first set. We get a Reba. That just the jam is so tasty, and they bring it so way down. There's a little Doobie Brothers like Michael McDonald, late 70s, early 80s keyboard action in some of the jam that really gives it just this nice kind of Doobie Brothers bouncy vibe to it. Just a really good, solid Reba that just, I think Reba maybe coming towards the end of the set and not dropping early in a set, just for me, maybe let's say just gives it a little more flavor. Like, at this point in the set, 8 songs, they already dropped a pretty magnificent Divided Sky. It feels like a treat. It feels like Reba's a little bit extra. And they bring it, and they even, it's not a rushed Reba. It's not like Halloween energy is taking over like this song or this performance. They're really able to bring it pretty low down, and it's really enjoyable. And then they follow that up with the Golgi apparatus to close the first set. Then we get set 2, which takes the rest of the second disc. Reba and Golgi were the first 2 songs on the second disc. So we get pretty much all of side A, most of side B on disc 1. We get the first 3 songs at the end of disc side B. Why Don't We Do It, I Will, and Juliet open up set 2. And then we get the rest of all of disc 2 or side 3 and 4 on the rest of it. With the last song left out, which I think was played over the loudspeaker, Revolution 9, actually ended the live performance. And then I think they played the final track over the speaker. And for the most part, it's played pretty straight on. Like, it's like they learn the songs. They're not augmenting them or bringing in extra musicians. So it's just the 4 of them, which is cool. They do a couple things different. Birthday in particular is just this weird little proggy thing in which they actually sing Happy Birthday to Brad Sands. I think we get like an a cappella things at one point. Oh yeah, at the end of Helter Skelter, which has a pretty good little jam at the end. They come in and they all sing like an a cappella, like I've got blisters on my fingers type thing, which kind of robs the ending jam of some of its power when you know they're planning to lead up to this like single point where they all sing like a cappella. I know it's meant to be kind of cool and a nice twist on the I've got blisters on my fingers, but to me it robs the jam of some element of spontaneity, because now it kind of all seems a little too planned. Don't Pass Me By is a little more up tempo and like leaning into their backwoods type jammy type stuff. But for the most part, everything is, Good Night was played over the PA. Was played pretty straightforward. And before we even get to the end of side A, before While My Guitar Gently Weeps even drops, I'm kind of checked out every time, because like back in the USSR, it's kind of fun to hear them play this, but they don't do anything with it. And then we get Dear Prudence, and I've seen Jerry destroy Dear Prudence. So, we got something to compare it to right there. We got a Glass Onion. The Obla Di Obla Da just feels lost. It just feels like midway through, it's like just something's not clicking. The audience already, like they know what to expect, so there's a lack of excitement. And just by the time we get to While My Guitar Gently Weeps, which has a pretty nice guitar solo at the end and a pretty nice, probably maybe one of the highlights of the cover album of them doing the Beatles album, but it's definitely not. It's not a must hear. It's just maybe the highlight of the set, because finally Trey's like soloing and they're kind of jamming. But by the end of that, I want to go back and listen to the original. Like, and I actually did recently. I went back and I listened to the original because I think side A on the White Album is such a perfectly constructed sequence and side of music, and there's so much presented. And I just felt like something was lacking. Some spark is lacking. Interestingly enough, things kind of get more interesting for me at that point. Martha, My Dear kind of works. I'm So Tired, I think really, really works. I think that is a song I maybe wish they had kept around and played a lot more. Blackbird, Piggies, Rocky Raccoon, Don't Pass Me By, they're just there. But the Martha, My Dear, I'm So Tired, for some reason, that gets me. Maybe because I'm feeling good after that While My Guitar Gently Weeps solo. But then the Happiness Is a Warm Gun is between those and kind of doesn't do it for me. Then disc 3, we get a Why Don't We Do It in the Road, we get I Will, we get Julia, we get The Weird Birthday, we get Your Blues, which they really, I thought, would have jammed much, much harder than they do. I just thought they would have destroyed it. You just think like Your Blues, this is your chance to destroy it. They don't. You know the songs, Mother Nature Son, Everybody's Got Something to Hide. Everybody's Got Something to Hide is a really neat little part in it that kind of works. It's not really a jam, but it's a neat little quirky thing that they kind of lean into towards the end of the song that works for me. Sexy Sadie, which is a great song. Helter Skelter, Long, 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 Revolution, Honey Pie, Savoy Truffle, Cry Baby Cry, and then Revolution number 9. And I don't care. And like the couple times when I've listened to it, like recently, I kind of had to force myself to get past like While My Guitar Gently Weeps. It doesn't do it for me. I have not listened to this album, this show in a very long time because I don't know. I'm just not interested in them doing a complete cover of the White Album. Doesn't do it for me. Set 3 opens up with a pretty good David Bowie, pretty straightforward David Bowie. Some nice, like, pretty much type 1 with like these little, like you feel like there's like tendrils that are like, hey, maybe we can explore this and go here, but we're quickly back into like the main David Bowie lane. So it's a good, solid David Bowie, but it's definitely not doing anything new or really, really taking chances and going out there. We get a bouncing around the room. We get a nice early set Slave to the Traffic Light, which develops really nicely. Rift, Sleeping Monkey, Poor Heart, and then another pretty straightforward but a nice high energy, kind of works, Run Like an Antelope, which just works. It's a good David Bowie Run Like an Antelope kind of bookend to the third set. Neither of those go really, really crazy places, but they got high energy. And then for the encore, we get an Amazing Grace. We get the costume contest in which they're improvising some sort of like Phish type, kind of like, game show funk behind it. Think of what Zappa does when he does stupid stuff like that. Phish is kind of doing the same thing in the background. That's kind of interesting. Kind of makes us not seeing these costumes, but it is interesting to see what there are costumes of. Like that, I think is pretty interesting. A lot of Gamehenge characters in there. A mound. One of the people was a mound. And then Squirming Coil closes out. Really nice, beautiful Squirming Coil. Really nice ending to that. But my thing with this is I don't think there's any must-hear moments in this entire show. I think the highlight of the first set for me is Reba, and it's just because of the way they bring it down. I like the little Doobie Brothers flavor sprinkled in there so often. The Divided Sky is great. Some good set choices, song choices, simple. Nice first set Harpoo is always nice. But I don't think any of these things are like must-hear or like epic mic drop moments. I don't care for the White Album cover, so that I'm just not interested in that. I'd rather hear the original White Album. And then the third set is probably the strongest set of the 3. David Bowie is strong. The Run Like an Antelope is strong. Slave is a nice third song. But the rest of the stuff, I kind of maybe don't need to hear. They're not, but none of these are definitive versions. Maybe the thing that I think might be my favorite is that first set, Reba. Or maybe the I'm So Tired. I don't know why I really like the I'm So Tired. But yeah. It's a Halloween show. The White Album is special. Mad props to the band for learning it. That's a lot of effort. They do a fantastic job. They're just learning one of the greatest albums of all time, right? So an album that was very much a studio production that benefited from being a studio production. So yeah, I'm almost wishing they had done like Phish interprets the White Album and maybe eliminates a bunch of songs. Like Obla Di Obla Da is a killer. Just doesn't need to be in there. Like, I don't think you need Piggies, right? I don't even think Rocky Raccoon really worked. But there are some things that really, really do work that I think if they had more time to develop them and let them like seep in their own juices and then like lead into them slower or segue out of them and jam, I think it could have been a much more like, would have redefined obviously the entire costume experience because they're not doing the entire album. But I don't know. Maybe they can revisit it like in 2024, which would be 30 years afterwards, do like a 30-year revisit of it. And that really 30 years is freaking crazy. But do like only do the songs that work. If anybody from Phish is watching this and you're touring in 2024, return to this as like a 30-year callback, but only do the songs that you can jam out on and just make it a one long 90-minute like White Album Fest. White Album Fest? White Album Fest. Don't call it the White Fest. The Beatles Fest, because that's the official name of the album, right? Anyways, that's all I got for this. Where would I rank it among the other ones? I have it last. An entire set, pretty much 2 whole discs, I have no interest in listening to. There are moments that are good. I'm impressed that they pulled it off. Kudos to you. I think most other of their live albums or their Halloween cover albums are just better choices. I don't think Quadrophenia was a good choice, though there were good moments in that. I still think that's just like, you're getting too ambitious. Like, learn an album you can just fishify, you know? That's what I wanted them to do. But anyways, that's all I got. Yeah, that's where it is at the bottom of the list, which is appropriate for now because it's 13 at 13. And even though I don't think I know it's at 14 yet, I don't think I've looked at 14 yet, I'm pretty sure that come the next video, this one is going to be at number 14 because I don't think, there's very few in this series that I think I like less than I like this one. So yeah, let me know why I'm wrong, why you disagree with me, why this is your favorite. Yeah, I gave them props. They learned it. It's fantastic. I just don't want to hear them do that. I like their own songs. I want to hear them do their own songs. I want to hear the Beatles do Beatles songs, right? All right. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, like, share. And if you're going to go listen to this, drop that Reba first, because that Reba's fantastic. And then go listen to I'm So Tired. I'm so tired. That performance is good. All right, that's all I got. Peace. Talk to you later.